Look how much you've got. Some of this is rubbish, so we won't go through all of it.
You can't say that. I'm sure it's all quality stuff.
Right, so these are questions from patrons. You're sure it's all quality stuff? How many Skittles does it take to make a Kroot carnivore the colour of a rainbow?
7.
Yeah, exactly. If 2 units could have a baby, what would you pick and what would they create?
Squats and Kroot.
What would they create?
Squat Kroot.
Well, exactly. And that's why some of it's nonsense. Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and back by popular demand, we have more of our Moar Winters series. This is episode 6.
Yo.
Yeah, I was going to wrap it up after the 5th episode.
Were you?
No, I had enough.
Oh.
No, I'm joking. But this time, Winters has come all the way to me.
That hurts.
We're at Warhammer
I know,
HQ.
yeah, I'm down in your studio. It's a lovely place to be. Thank you very much for inviting me.
It looks like a professional studio,
It
and
does
no
look...
one knows it's the kitchen.
Shh. It's the magic of the internet, no one knows.
Yeah, so obviously the series has been going well, and I really enjoy it because it's just free content for us, because we will sit and chat hobby anyway.
Yes.
But we film it instead.
Yes.
So if you haven't seen it already, check out the other 5 episodes. I'm not going to bang on about it, there's no point. However, what I've also got nowadays is Discord. I kind of stole the idea from you. Because my patrons...
I stole the idea from the Glacial Geek.
Oh, did you?
YouTube channel. Check it out. Lovely guy, Canadian.
Well, I had a patrons WhatsApp chat which was just too chaos. I mean, you couldn't follow any of the threads. Right. People would start chatting and then it would devolve, and then 300 messages later you don't know where the conversations are going.
Okay.
So I created Discord, and we created lots of little threads in Discord. As part of a Patreon you get access to that, and one of the threads we created was a Moar Winters questions thread.
An actual thread that says Moar Winters.
It is literally a thread that says Moar Winters questions.
Brilliant.
So Patreons can jump onto the thread and just ask questions.
I should have a Moar Winters patrons thread as well on my Discord thing. Really,
go for it, yeah.
I should do the same thing. But you're more creative with me when it comes to technology. I'm as technically minded as a spoon.
Well, I don't know about that. There are some fancy spoons out there.
Well, you have a microphone, so I've never used one in 3 years. So that's a level up from me.
Yeah. You just looked at my lapel mic and went, "What's that?"
Yeah.
Microphone, mate. It's how we get good sound, because you are so softly spoken.
And where did you get it from? It was like £7 on Amazon. Really? You can buy these things? They exist. They're out there in the world.
You didn't just make it from fire and wizardry.
Yes.
Cool. So anyway, I opened up this thread. I asked the patrons to ask us loads of questions. We've got some questions here. So you'll probably notice some rough edits where I read a question, then we read the question and talk about it. And that's basically the format of the video. That's it. Done.
We talk.
Yeah.
Answer questions. We don't answer questions.
We don't answer questions. We start answering questions. We never actually finish.
We start with a question and then go talk on about world hunger or something.
Yeah. So we're going to try and get a couple done today, but I have promised him cottage pie, and we are in the kitchen, so we'll see how much we get done.
I like a bit of cottage pie. I haven't had cottage pie in years. I must about a decade.
That is pressure.
That's true.
I don't like pressure.
True story.
Right. We will move on to the first question.
Okay. Thanks for inviting me down, by the way.
That was a pause.
Was it?
Yeah.
I was supposed to shut up now.
Yeah, well, okay.
I need a bit more direction than that. Jazz hands.
Right, so
Can I ask a question?
You can ask. If you want to ask the first question in this episode, go for it.
Do you shampoo your beard?
Yeah.
You do? Put shampoo
and conditioner.
On your beard?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to.
You do?
Otherwise it doesn't shine on the camera.
For that?
You have to, yeah, did you like the flick? You have to oil it as well. Like
really?
Twice a day.
Okay.
Yeah. Effort.
I couldn't grow a beard, it'd be all tufty and stuff. So
it would look good.
Yeah.
With the cap.
No.
It would see.
It wouldn't. I can't have that much man on my face, but I know that you like quite a bit of man on your face. There's a lot of man there on your face.
Who doesn't love man on their face?
Ask a question.
Yeah. Let's not. Right. So the first question we've got is from Dan. Dan's basically said, in the savaged 40k universe post the big split, the Xenos races seem to have faded as a credible threat. So he's suggesting that Xenos forces are no longer as much of a threat as they were. He said, do you see them bringing them back, or much like the Tyranid book, their threats being played down, the focus remaining on Chaos and Imperial fight from now on?
Well, when is this video going up?
This will go up like soon.
Because Xenos is coming back in a big way soon, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this question was a couple of weeks ago now, but obviously we know that we've got the Necron Codex coming, the Tau Codex coming, the Orc Codex is coming, etc. But he is right. The Tyranid book does kind of play the threat down a little bit. I think the Tyranid Codex first gave us the hint that actually, as a race, they could be defeated.
Yeah.
Thanks for that epic response.
Well, yeah. Look, they're not. If you have a couple of codexes coming out and it's all Chaos and it's all Imperium, then it would appear that the Xenos thing is getting played down. But when they release a couple of codexes and it's all Xenos, then it would appear that the Imperium and the Chaos thing is getting played down. It's just that if Star Wars is on at the cinema, then it appears that Marvel is getting played down. But when Marvel's on at the cinema, then Marvel's on the adverts and on the TVs and on the mugs that you buy from Tesco's, and on the shaver thing with Marvel. Get your Marvel shaving Iron Man razor blades or whatever. Yeah, it's the cycle. It's the circle of life.
I wonder if it's because of the way they're pushing the narrative. Right. So they've obviously moved the narrative on, haven't they?
Yes.
In the last 12 months since 8th edition's drop, with the Cicatrix Maledictum, what's been going on with the release of the Primaris Marines, now with the release of the Adeptus Custodes. You tell me.
Custodes.
There we go.
Custodian. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. I always call them custodes and get told off. So the Adeptus Custodes coming out, etc. So they are clearly pushing the narrative on.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense at this stage, I think, to drop Xenos Codexes in there, which is why I think we're waiting for a bulk of Xenos Codexes. Yeah. Not because they're not as important, not because they're not credible, because it didn't fit the way they were moving the narrative on.
I still stand by the answers I've given before, which is I think Ynnari are going to have some unique models. I think there's going to be some new models coming out for that, and I think that there is. I said there was last time we sat down. I said there's going to be a new race, guarantee a new race coming, and then Custodes hit, and I guarantee there's.
Are they a new race?
They're a whole. Well, they're
a new model range.
There was a couple of models beforehand in Talons of the Emperor, and now they have their own codex.
Yeah, which I actually really like.
It's a nice codex, yeah. And it's a very good codex.
Yeah,
it's strong.
I've done some reading on it, and it's exceptional. I think they're going to be very. As a lot of people really early on said, Custodes wouldn't be very good as a mono build, and I actually quite disagree.
Yeah,
I think they'll be really good as a mono build.
Yeah.
There will be stuff that they'll struggle against.
You're going to see them in tournaments all the time. Shield captains on bikes, you're going to see in tournaments all the time. LVO style tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, you can fit 5 or 6 of those in a list.
Mono build single tournament on its own, how well will it do? No, it's not going to be up there with Eldar, because Eldar were all over the Las Vegas Open, right? There was like 7 out of 10 of the last remaining lists were all
Which
Eldar
was interesting,
Ynnari.
because last weekend we've just had the GT at Warhammer Worlds, and the top sort of 6, there was 5 Chaos armies.
Well, Chaos... It's interesting because there's a lot of Chaos Soup, Imperial Soup. The Guard is still doing well. NIDs, there's a couple of very strong NID lists out there.
I think NIDs are exceptional.
It just so happened that I think at the LVO, the Ynnari lists and the Eldar lists were in the ascendancy. But you go to another tournament like the London GT and all of a sudden there's some other lists at the ascendancy. It goes to show how well how better it's balanced. A la 7th edition, that there's different codexes, different stuff going.
And when you spoke about we've completely gone off topic as always. You just spoke about the London GT. One of the patrons, John, is going to the London GT, and he's taking a Primaris and Imperial Guard soup type list thing that he's built. It looks like a really cool list, but it's interesting how much actually.
Hellblasters.
No, I don't think he's got any Hellblasters.
Hellblasters, Guilliman, Nugget.
No, none of that rubbish. No, he's tried to go completely anti-meta.
Okay.
But it's interesting. I was chatting to him about it, and he doesn't think it will. It's interesting now how much.
Bring it a list. I don't think it will work very well. I'm bringing it anyway.
It's already bought, built, and half painted, so I'm committed. Is kind of what he said. But now we've seen the tournament pack rules for the actual missions and stuff.
Yeah.
It's interesting now how much the mission rules for the tournament affect what list is good and bad.
Yes.
So one of the things that they brought into this is that every single mission at the London GT, there's kill points for every unit that's destroyed. Every single mission you play.
Yes.
So he's got a list with multiple units.
There were a few comments about the LVO as well, about how the LVO format affects who wins and who doesn't win. And basically you need to tailor your list for the format, not just tailor your list.
Well,
that's what's happening with the GT, right? They're tailoring their list for the format.
Yeah.
One thing is, don't just build a really good list. Find out what you're going for and do that, and then you might do well, which is a bit odd.
What we do weekly, we try and do weekly.
Are you interested in tournaments at all?
Am I interested in tournaments?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ever going to
I went to a few in 7th edition. I haven't touched one in 8th edition yet because I've been focusing on this.
To?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I like the idea of... Well, it depends on the tournament, though. That's the thing. I went and did a tournament in Norwich, a Conflict Norwich. Really friendly, lots of drinking beer, chilling out, playing some nice friendly games.
Okay.
No real massive amounts of cheese. A great laugh for the weekend. That's the tournament I like.
Yeah.
The GTs at Warhammer World don't interest me. People can take whatever the hell they want, and they turn up with 3 Revenant Titans or something stupid like that. I have no interest in that at all.
Yeah.
So it depends on the tournament massively. I want to do LVO because I want to do LVO because it's a bucket list thing. Tick it once, I'm done.
What interests you in going to tournaments, though? What about them specifically?
Well, it's not
because you get to play enough anyway. You've got the YouTube thing going on. I've noticed it. There's a channel somewhere with you on it. I think I'm on it now.
Thanks very much.
The thing is, you're scratching that itch. So why would you need to go to tournaments? Because I think a lot of people go to tournaments. Not all of them, but some of them go to tournaments because they've got a real big 40k itch and they read the books, they do this, they do that, and it's another way to scratch that itch, right? Some people don't need to or don't want to,
and
because your itch is well scratched, is what I'm saying.
Right now under the table, I fully agree, and that's why I think in 7th edition I went to 2, 3, 4 tournaments, because I wouldn't when I was living in other places, not down here, away from friends who hobby. It was an excuse for him to go from here, me to go from here, us to meet up here, and we played for a weekend or something. Yeah. Really, really cool. Really enjoyed it, and that's why I did it in 7th. The itch is scratched in 8th, that's why I haven't been to one yet.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we're nearly a year into 8th edition, not far off, and I haven't even looked at tournaments. I've thought about it and I'm denied about it. But I also think it's good networking for the channel to get out there and play some tournaments as well, if I'm honest. Yeah, I think so, because it just puts your name about a bit. But I mean, the 2 I'm looking at, LVO is a distant future one, just because it's a bucket list thing, no other reason. Just to say I've done LVO. Yeah. The other one is No Retreat, because you've told me it's awesome.
It's a level above,
and that's a bucket list thing as well.
No Retreat, SN Battle Reports. The reason why it's a level above, because I used to, before YouTube, I've been to a lot of tournaments. I've done the tournament thing.
Oh, really?
And then YouTube came along and scratches that itch entirely.
You just don't seem like a tournament player.
And since YouTube, I've been invited to a number of tournaments, and I keep saying no, and then No Retreat. It's a level above because their way of reining back in those stupid Revenant builds and 3 super heavies, you can't have that. It's got to be a battalion detachment and maybe an outrider or something like that. They're restrictive on the list that you can bring, so you don't get the stupid lists.
Yep.
It's in Gibraltar, so that's a lovely, lovely location.
Yeah. You can't get much better. It's a bit different to Norwich.
And the kind of people who are saving up money to go to Gibraltar aren't the kind of people who are living in London where 300 people go to a local GT and smashing and they're just painting it up in 2 seconds. So the painting standard's higher, the hobby standard's higher, the location's better, the comp are a lot more restrictive, and most people, there's obviously a small percentage of people there, but there's some percentage of people there who really want to win, and I'd say 5 or 6 in the entire tournament probably really want to win, but most people go there with narrative-based lists that they spend a long time going to a spectacular location, and it's all about the hobby.
I tried to write a filthy list.
It's more like a hobby weekend rather than a tournament weekend.
Yeah, which is how I always treated tournaments in 7th edition, a hobby weekend. I don't go to win. Okay. I don't go to try and pick up gold or pick up any kind of award. I don't go to win a painting competition. I don't go to win... I don't care, as long as I enjoy it.
I also think that the tournament scene is overrepresented on YouTube and on the internet as well, because 100%. I think when they... when GW let out stats for these sorts of things from their survey, was it less than 10% of people actually go to tournaments? It's a low figure, but you look at the amount of coverage that it gets on the internet, and it's quite high.
Oh, you've just got to look at the rulebook. You've got 3 types of playstyle in the rulebook. You've got narrative, open, and matched.
Yes.
What do you see on YouTube?
Match play all the time.
Matched.
But
that's all you see.
But I think part of the match play is for tournaments and is for better competitive gamemanship rather than just power level. But I do a lot of match play. I do mainly match play, but that's not necessarily because of a tournament thing. That's because I'm old and I've been adding together the points of stuff for a very long time. It just makes more sense.
We've done 2 games on the channel so far, and we've done open war on both. Not even narrative. We've done open. It's been interesting. It's been a lot of fun. The first game was about 3 or 4 turns. It took ages, but was very exciting, and it finished at the end of that. And I won't give the result away. You can watch it if you're interested.
They're both very good.
The second one went 5 turns, and it was both of them were decided right at the very end of that of the last turn.
Open play works.
However, looking at the open war cards, what I can see is that there's only so much longevity to those games.
Yeah.
You will run out of versions of the game. With open war, and that's where I do like the idea of Maelstrom games with the objective cards and the way that changes the perspective. So I think we will end up moving towards doing Maelstrom as well as doing open war as well as doing narrative and keep that variation going.
I think the best in gameplay purposes, there's lots of good things that Games Workshop have done in the last year, but the best thing that they have done in the last couple of years, and they did it in 7th edition, was Maelstrom.
Oh yeah,
because you can play exactly the same game, 3 cards a turn every turn, and it plays entirely differently. You can play the same game with the same armies on the same battle grid, and you draw out different cards, so you have to respond differently. Maelstrom is a good game.
Maelstrom's an amazing gaming system, and I don't think they needed necessarily the narrative and open war stuff, because they could have used Maelstrom as that to a degree.
Yeah, but you see why they've done open war.
Of course.
New person turns up. How do I play the game? Well, there's your models. Add up the power, go.
Which, as opposed to 7th edition, how do I play the game? Here's your 14 books.
Yeah.
Now read all them and come back to me.
Yeah. But if you're new, you don't even need any books, because you'll use the data sheet that comes in the box set. Can I play this Eldad thingy bob along with this?
Yeah, when you've got the core rules on the website, you can download.
Go for it, go.
But I mean, one of the reasons why I don't know where we even started. One of the reasons why I brought up the tournament thing is because when we were chatting about his GT list and of how he thinks now, looking at the fact that there's kill points in every single game, he's at a disadvantage because of how many units he's got. We then moved on to talking about LVO. And one of the reasons why we moved on to talking about LVO was we were talking about ITC format. Now, in 7th edition, I'm going to discuss it now because it was a really good chat we had in there. About once a week, we try and get on a Discord voice chat and all have a chinwag.
Can I interrupt, though?
Yeah.
I think the reason...
You're going to anyway.
No, yeah, because... The reason why I think that they're going to get in a kill point for every single unit that you kill is because MSU, so multiple small unit type builds, historically has been really strong. So instead of bringing 10 units, you bring along 30 units, and this one can do this, and you split off all over the place. It doesn't matter if you bring a hammer along. You bring a hammer along and you kill one tiny unit, and you've got 29 other units.
Yeah, which is what his list is essentially.
So they've brought so they brought this type of thing in to discourage MSU type builds. But looking at the LVO rankings, most of them were not MSU. Most of them had big blobs of 30 guys here and 30 guys here.
Because auras are a thing now.
Yeah.
So auras affect a unit, obviously, including psychic auras, which you can only kick out once.
I don't think they need to bring in a rule that allows to discourage MSU, because MSU will end up getting wiped out by these bigger steamroll type blob stuff. Because also, it's not just auras as a thing, because you can have a blob of, say, I don't know, 30 guardians or whatever it is. And 5 of them can shoot that way, 10 of them can shoot that way, 15 of them can everyone's got split fire.
Yeah, exactly. And you can buff them with something like, for example, Eldar's Version of Prescience or Guide or something like that. And they all get affected even though they're targeting different units. And this is what we were chatting about in that Discord voice session, was whether ITC... not really, not because this. We're back on track with what we were talking about. This is what we do. We ask people for questions. They give us a question, and we just talk about what we want to know. And what we discussed was whether actually ITC was required anymore. So in 7th edition, I think it was required. There was too many power builds, too many massive formation builds, and that's why ITC did a lot of restricting. They restricted Lord of Wars, they restricted number of formations. They nerfed things like invisibility, which was ridiculous, etc. In 8th edition, I just don't see it needed. I just don't think there's any... I've got nothing against ITC. I just don't see it as needed as a rule set now.
Well, that was the thing that... It was annoying. So I went to No Retreat once, right? And I said, what rules are you following? Because this was 7th edition. They said, download the ITC rule pack. And I did, and it was like 12 pages long. It's like, what?
Yeah, but they needed
Can't they just say, here are the... Where's the rules pack? It's in the book.
Yeah, well, which is with 8th edition, I think you can do that.
That's it.
I think you can do it with 8th edition.
Yeah.
I think you can pluck it. I think you could, with 8th edition, pluck missions out of the main rule book.
Yeah.
Well, I went to a tournament.
Chapter approved.
I'll tell you what, I went to a tournament in Colchester at a place called 40K, 4 and then a T and then a K. They've got a website, they sell GW products, so check them out. really good guys, because I was living in Ipswich in the forces, and we did a tournament there, and they literally everyone sets up or gets given their opponent. You walk up to your table, and then a bloke comes up with the rule book, and he goes, right, this one is going to be an Eternal War mission. He rolled a dice. This was 7th edition as well.
Yeah.
He rolled a dice. This is the Eternal War mission we're playing. Off you go. I mean, that's amazing. That's the way I think 8th could work now.
Having said all of this, though, we are incredibly green when it comes to organising. This is just us spitballing, right? The ITC guys are organising tournaments for thousands of people that have come around from all over the world.
I just feel
and
like
the ranking thing is important for them as well. So it needs to have fixed, strict rules.
Yeah,
and then people get ranked, because ultimately it's a $4,000 prize with lots of prize support at the end.
I just think
because the Americans are also trying to turn 40k into a sport.
Yeah, of course. But I just think that the amount of sort of fiddling they still do with it, I think, is a 7th throwback. I still think ITC should be a thing. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think it needs to be as heavily refereed, managed as it is now, or as it was in the past. I think they could ease off a little bit and it would still work, personally. Because I think sometimes you look at ITC. I mean, look at what Lawrence said after he went to the LVA. He basically said one of the reasons why he felt he didn't do so well was because he didn't understand the rules properly. That it's because it's daunting.
Yeah,
because you have to read all these ITC rules and understand that bottom level of ruins is line of sight blocking, etc. It is a bit daunting when you think, I've just read a rule book.
Yeah.
So do you need all that? Anyway, that's a different matter. We've not answered the question.
I think we've smashed that one, because it's also, like, as I said at the beginning, it's very niche. There's only a small percentage of people who are interested in tournaments or go to tournaments anyway.
Yeah.
And people like me who don't anymore think, can't they just follow the rules?
Yeah, and you are right. it is overrepresented on YouTube, which is why people should subscribe to this channel to watch our open war ones. So basically, Dan, with your question about whether we're going to get rid of Xenos threats, it's nothing. That's your answer. Tournaments are all right.
They're not. They're not gone. They're still there, and they'll come back again. And so will Marvel's Infinity War suddenly appear on?
I think
when it comes round.
I think we'll find this year will be a big focus on Xenos stuff.
I still think that there is going to be. Either the Inari Codex is going to have a lot of new models in it and feel like a new army, or there'll be a new Xenos army coming out within 12 months.
I hope the Inari Codex doesn't get lots of new models.
I think it's going to have some of the Dark Element, some of this and some of that. There's interesting things that they can do with Wraith constructs. There's interesting things that they can do with the Twilight Realm.
Wraith constructs are some of my most favourite Eldar models. They need to not bring this new release out, because I need to focus on painting what I've got.
Yeah, but Wraith constructs in the Eldar craft worlds, they put the Spirit Stones in it, and it animates the Soul Stones drive the Wraith constructs, the Wraithbone constructs, right?
Yeah.
The Inari ones are different.
Well,
the Soul infuses the whole of the Wraith construct, and they move quicker, and they're more responsive, and they're alive.
Yeah. So. Because Wraith Knights work differently, don't they? Because they are piloted by twins, one dead, one alive.
Yes.
That would be interesting. Anyway, that's by the by. So that's that one. Xenos, I don't think are dying. I think there has been a focus on Chaos Imperial just because of the way they're pushing the narrative. I don't think they're removing the Xenos as a threat.
No.
I think they're balancing the universe as well as they're balancing the game.
So it's interesting because the Orcs and the Octavius system as well, when Orcs could do with a real fresh update. Orcs are popular, and they will, instead of releasing Codex Orcs, can you imagine they release Codex Drukorki, and it's a whole new range of Orcs that comes spilling out of the Octavia system, and
do you know
a whole new range of models
with Orcs,
because they want to copyright that, don't they?
With Orcs, sometimes I wonder if GW are missing a trick. Have you every tournament I've been to, every gaming weekend I've been to, there's always an Orc player.
Yeah.
People love Orcs, and if you go to a tournament, you can guarantee that the one player everybody else is getting behind is the Orc player.
Yeah.
Because he's there to have fun. Because
Yeah.
Orcs have not been competitive for so long.
Yeah.
When you look at the Auric model range from Age of Sigmar, what a gorgeous model range they've got. There's a cash cow here for 40k with Orcs.
Yeah.
You upgrade their models to match the big brute Orcs that they should be, and you give them a decent set of... I'm not saying make their rules so powerful they win everything, and Codex Creep blah, that people keep whinging about, which I actually now don't think exists. But you upgrade their model range, you upgrade their rules of touch to make them able to hold their own.
Yeah.
They will just be printing money.
Give them bigger armour, lots of DACA. I can see orc models with whole missile racks behind them go firing weapons around all over the place. Crazy orcs charging forward really quickly. Orc drop pods
and
smashing out the sky, roll a one and everyone's destroyed, but so is all the units around it. You know, just bring back those crazy type of rules.
Like that type of stuff.
A truck on the front with, I don't know, C4 charges on the front and driven by 2 grots. Holding on, just
really want to
slamming into something, doing D6 mortal
wounds. I really want to
wounds.
see grot suicide planes.
I know.
Amazing, like kamikaze bandages around their heads and stuff. Dan's a big orc player, so he'll like this. And the thing is, in the narrative as well, the only race that's arguably as big a threat as the Tyranids is the orcs. If they band together, we've spoken about this before, if they all band together in one big war...
They're not, though. They'll still fight each other.
Of course they will.
The ones that believe in Gork and the ones that believe in Mork.
Yeah.
And they'll never lose.
No.
Because if orcs die, then it doesn't count. And if they win, then they win.
But they're not... they're not a race, are they? They're a fungus, essentially.
Yeah.
So you can't kill them. They're like weeds. They'll never go away.
Yeah.
That's that question not answered. We did well so far.
Let's not answer another question.
Yeah. So Andrew has asked.
Hi, Andrew.
Could I'm
you
going to
said do that last time. You said say hello to them.
Yeah, but that was when we were doing one specific Patreon. Now all of these are going to be Patreon asked questions because they have loads. He said, could Terra fall, and what would it take to make that happen?
Could Terra fall? Yeah, of course it could fall. Yes, Terra could fall.
So, all right, change the question
but
slightly.
Would Terra fall?
There we go. Would GW allow Terra to fall? Because what would happen if Terra falls? Do we lose? We wouldn't lose mankind, would we? Because they're spread throughout the galaxy.
I think the basic setting for Warhammer 40k has been fixed in stone. It hasn't been fixed in stone for 30 years before the Cicatrix Maledictum, by the way. They didn't really build up the main narrative behind 40k until after second edition and after second edition with all the White Dwarf stuff, and then it was fixed, boom. And you need a solid background in the same way that you need a kind of solid background to any other narrative that you're building. So I don't know, Harry Potter, Slytherin are the bad guys.
Look at Lord of the Rings.
There's a guy that you can't talk about. It's got to have a fixed background. Lord of the Rings, it's got to have a fixed background,
massive fixed background,
a foundation on which everything can be built on, and the foundation behind which everything's built on for 40k is there's a guy who's dead on a throne, and it's Terra.
Yeah, and then it's the same reason Mordor will never disappear in Lord of the Rings. It is kind of the same because Terra is massive in the 40k universe because of that guy. But
if they did move it forward, so in the very first Horus Heresy book, Horus Rising, the first line in the book is I was there the day Horus slew the Emperor.
Yep.
Right? And there's a planet called Terra. And on this planet called Terra, this is the very opening book.
Yeah, I remember that
There is a guy called the Emperor.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of space marines running around in power armor.
And they believe that they are...
And it's a planet with 8 planets going around it. And they believe that they are Earth.
Yep.
And then the space marines turn up and Horus turns up and says, bow. And they're like, no, this is Terra. We seeded the galaxy. So the only way, the suggestion there is, how do we know that Terra's Terra? The suggestion is, how do we know that our Earth in the 40k universe is the galaxy is billions and billions of light years across.
Yeah.
After the age of Old Night, after the age of, how do we know that this particular spec is the spec?
Or that there's not 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 others even. There could be multiple mirrored universes.
No, it's not about universes. It's about, say there's one galaxy and mankind spread out in a very Star Trek-esque way and populate the whole galaxy.
Yeah.
Then it all went horribly wrong. Age of Iron, Age of Men of Iron, Men of Steel, Men of Clay, AI war. They had their AI war. Then they had their genetically engineered war, the Men of Clay. Then Age of Strife, 5,000 years. It was spread out across the galaxy. And we came from there. But it turns out that the Emperor and the Space Marines, when they restart, they think they're there, but they're not there. They're somewhere else. What I'm saying is, they could flip the script at the end of the Horus Heresy series if they want to, or they could flip the script at some point in the future, but be a good decade or so, and say, actually, Terra isn't Terra. So the Cicatrix Maledictions happen, right? Say in 10 years' time they say, what we're going to do, there's another big twist. It turns out that Baal is Terra, or Macragge is Terra, or this other place over here is Terra, and the Emperor was lying all along and he's a Chaos Demon, blah, blah, blah. And that becomes their new foundation. They could do that.
I don't see it.
But they're not going to.
No, I don't. I just don't see it. There's too much invested in Terra as Terra at the moment, I think.
But there is the suggestion, I do like the suggestion that Terra might not be Earth.
Yeah.
It's just nice.
But I think that's why it's on. If you look at the references to Terra, on Terra, and the way they talk about places on Terra, it's close to stuff on Earth, but it's not close enough. And obviously, it's a fantasy world. So the idea is not to make people relate directly to Earth, but to make them vision it in the same sort of way. In the way
that the old world in Warhammer Fantasy wasn't really Earth, but close to Earth.
Yeah, it's like I've just been reading or starting to read Fulgrim, and obviously
that's a hard one.
Yeah, it is. And they're looking at the planet, and they're talking about oceans. And there's a character. He's a remembrancer of some sort, I believe. And he says he doesn't remember oceans on Terra. They were long gone. So there's enough references to it being like Earth, with it being so far in the future that it's no longer like Earth.
I should give you the list of Black Library books. I was about to say I should give you the list of books that you should read for Horus Heresy, but it'd be better just to give you the list of the ones to avoid. And Fulgrim's one of them.
I'm halfway through it. I'll finish it.
The last bit, the duel between Fulgrim and Ferrus Manus is good.
I've got
the bit in the Urgal Depression at Isfahan 5 is really, really good. But to get there,
I've got the first 22 Horus Heresy books on audiobooks.
Smashing.
So I don't even have to read it; just listen to it. So that's okay, because I can get through it then if it's an audiobook. If it's a book, I read the first one, read Horus Rising, I read False Gods, I read Galaxy in Flames.
Because the audiobooks have got about 75% of the. They're edited, right?
Yes, of course. And then the fourth one, which was Flight of the Eisenstein, I started to read that, and I lost interest.
Oh, it's Garrow.
But I'd read book after book after book after book. So I'd read the first 3 books, started the fourth one, and I stopped it. Then I got it as an audiobook and breezed through it.
Okay.
And then I loved that book at the end. Then that audiobook
when Nathaniel Garrow stands up to Rogel Dawn.
Yeah.
And brings him the knowledge of the heresy. And Dawn goes, no. Yeah. It's not happening, mate. And Garrow says, are you blind? To a Primarch.
That's amazing, by the way. Bam! Yeah.
Shivers.
You listen to it and think, you can have your head taken off, mate. Don't do that. That's a silly idea.
And that's not spoilers, I know, because I've got a couple of comments saying, you're spoiling it. This is right at the beginning of the Horus Heresy series.
Do you know, just as I got to the end of that book, which was very recently, because I only started getting really into the Horus Heresy, I'll be honest with you, hands up, narrative-wise, your knowledge is so much more than mine because you read all the books. All the narrative-type stuff I've got has come from codexes in the past. Okay, I've read I've read the Blood Angels Omnibus. I've read Descent of Angels and a couple of other Dark Angels-type books.
Yeah.
I've read there's an Eldar series called Path of the, and there's 3 different: Path of the Warrior, Path of the Seer, and Path of the something else. I can't remember what it is.
Have you read Gaunt's Ghosts?
No.
Eisenhorn Ravener?
No. So I know, and people are going to probably unsubscribe. So I'm now getting into my narrative big time. And so I read those 3
Can I do a public service announcement?
Alright.
The greatest 40k books out there, better than the Horus Heresy, are Gaunt's Ghosts, because it's about Imperial Guardsmen. It's about you and me and you in the trenches.
I've read bits of them.
And so that's frontline stuff. But if you want to feel what it's like behind the front, because most 40k books and Horus Heresy books are in the front line and there's battles going on. If you want to know about the civilian side of it and what it's like in the normal population, then Eisenhorn and Ravener.
Eisenhorn's one of their best-selling series as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's written in the first person. It's I did.
And we're now getting an Eisenhorn model.
And Eisenhorn is crazy good, and Ravener follows on immediately after Eisenhorn.
So I'm going through the Horus Heresy, and I will pick up all these series. But I got to the end of the Flight of the Eisenstein recently, and obviously that's the first time we're properly introduced to the Adeptus Custodes.
Yeah.
And at the point that we were introduced to those, it was weird. We were introduced to the Adeptus Custodes in the book, and then about a week later, GW announced the release.
Yeah.
And that was just wow.
Timing.
Because as they walk in that room at the end with Malcador the Sigillite, and he's got that. Loved that book in the end.
Loved it. When you cream through them, you'll get to one of the latest ones that they did, which is called The Emperor of Man, I think.
Yeah.
And that's the War of the Web. Spoilers. This is later on in the Horus Heresy, and it involves... It's the book that has the Emperor and the Custodes in most. But the good thing about that particular book, this is not spoilers, Emperor of Mankind, is... There's lots of flashbacks in it to before the time of the Horus Heresy, when the Emperor was running around with just his Custodies and some Thunder Warriors and pre-Primarchs, and he gets some idea of what's going on in his head.
Do you know how hard it has been for me to not buy Custodies? They are the original, like the original cool warriors. The new model range is so nice.
Do you know how hard it has been for me not to buy Custodies?
I imagine super hard. Have you bought Custodies?
I might have a couple.
There you go. People don't even know yet. Now.
Spoiler. Yeah, but I've got an idea of a list, and it's got 20 bikes in it. So 2 Shield Captains, HQ.
Yeah, 2 outrider attachments,
Done.
3 squads of 3 bikes in each, and a total left over of 60 points for 4 missile launches. I've written the same list.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that list.
But
yeah.
Because it would look so cool.
It would look amazing, and it would probably be very good as well.
And it would be very good, and you could play it about 3 or 4 times on YouTube, and then it'd be boring. And it would also smash certain types of lists, absolutely annihilate them, but get completely bogged down and not do very much against horde-based lists.
But you can also chuck a couple of bike squads in an Imperial Soup type list. You could chuck half a detachment into a bigger 3,000-4,000 point game, couldn't you? And it just gives you more options, especially when you're playing Imperial armies. Yeah,
and you could paint up 3 Shield Captains on bikes for that Supreme Command attachment to rock around, but I rarely do Imperial Soup type lists.
I don't,
and it's kind of cheaty, isn't it? Hey, here's my Mechanicum and here's my 3 Shield Captains.
I don't want to sound like a bit of a douchebag, because I know we've seen it on Tabletop Tactics, thanks mate. I know I've seen it on Tabletop Tactics a few times. I don't like Supreme Command attachment, 3 Shield Captains on battle. For tournament play, it's no holds barred.
But I get why they do it in particular, because Tabletop Tactics are about stronger lists.
Of course they are, yeah.
And they're about
100%. It fits their aesthetic and the game they play. And if you want to watch their narrative stuff, you go over to their campaigns.
With Open War stuff, and on my channel, which is largely narrative led, suddenly here's 3 Shield Captains.
With no other support from the Custodies at all.
And I'm going against Orcs. So it doesn't.
Anyway,
I still want 20 bikes.
The bike models are so nice too. Although we have had some patrons whinging about the flying stands, because apparently they're a horrible type of thing. But then I've got the new Elder jet bikes where you've got the flying stand with a little bubble on the end. Yeah. You just put it. Why they ever came away from the little stalk where it actually sat there and did what it was supposed to do, I don't know.
Right.
But that's a whole other whinge.
Well, I just glue them. So I've got like land speeders, and I just glue them on, and the intercessors, the guys with the twin bolters.
Well, actually,
just glue them
on.
I know it's a bit lazy
on the Custodies bikes.
Keeps them solid.
On the Custodies bikes, battle foam have obviously tweaked. So that's what some people will be doing because of how rubbish the stands are.
Yeah.
They sell 2 types of foam tray for your jet bikes, for your Custodies jet bikes. One type, normal type, take the stand off, put the bike in, put the stand in. Another type, so deep that you just put the bike in with its stand glued on. So they've already created a battle foam tray on battle foam to just take your bikes with the stands glued.
I got a lot of battle foam. It's very good stuff.
Yeah, I'm a KR multi-case fan.
I got in contact with battle foam and said, can you send me some, maybe at a discount price, and I'll do a video. And they said no.
Yeah. Not surprised. They do tend to do quite well anyway.
They do quite well anyway, yeah.
Cool. Right.
I was just trying to get some cheaper foam.
Let's try and answer a couple more questions before I peel potatoes for our cottage pie.
I haven't had a cottage pie for a decade.
Well, it's nicely setting over there.
Right, let's answer a question. Did we answer that one? What was
could
that
Terra
question?
fall? We said it could, but we don't think it will.
It won't. It's not going to fall. You need that foundation.
It did say what would it take to make it fall.
I like the idea that we talked about last time, which it turns out that maybe Malcador the Sigillite has been sat on the Golden Throne all along, and that's going to be the twist at the end of the Horus Heresy. Maybe.
He's the only one who's...
And the Emperor is...
Isn't he the only one who's even remotely close to psychically as powerful as the Emperor is?
Yeah, well, yes.
Well, that and Magnus.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
I do like the idea that Terra could fall. I do like the idea that with people like Magnus and stuff back in the galaxy, there is a chance that Terra could fall. Because Magnus was one of the most powerful psychics anyway. Now he is a full-blown demon Primarch. Surely his psychic power is even stronger because he's blessed by Zeech.
Yeah. I think that kind of question, though, the point of 40k is we've lost and we are fighting the end of all things. This is the end.
Delaying the inevitable.
How long does it take? I've said it before. How long does it take a galaxy to die? The answer is tens of thousands of years. We lost the war when Magnus broke the webway. This is the end, and the end's been going on for a very long time, and will be going on for forever.
My wife was speaking to me the other night.
Terror will fall right at the very end, but maybe in 10,000 years' time.
Well, my wife said to me the other night, is there any famous Warhammer quotes? I said, there's loads. I said, one of the ones that sticks out in my mind always, which is in the front of every single rule book.
Drive me closer, let me hit it with my sword. Have you seen that one?
No.
The Imperial Guard tank commander and a Layman Russ with a sword in the air.
Right.
Drive me closer. I want to hit it with my sword.
And the front of every rule book, there's a statement right at the end that says, and everyone will know it from 40k, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. And that's the truth of it. The galaxy is going to die, eventually. But I don't think we'll ever see it die in the hobby, because why would they kill what is the most successful war games, miniature wargaming system in the world ever?
Yeah.
And always will be, I think. I
Yeah.
don't think you'll ever see anything bigger.
Yeah.
And they keep doing what they're doing with 8th edition, and the way that they're responding to the community and releasing their FAQs and supporting the community and getting involved in YouTube and YouTube channels.
I wish they would slow down a little bit. Don't you?
Yeah, but I've heard this from people. This really grips me. I've heard this. I've heard this from people a few times since 8th edition's hit. Oh, there's too many codexes coming out. Oh, it's too fast.
I didn't say
there's
that.
Too many FAQs.
I didn't say that. I think they could slow down a bit.
I don't know. What we've got is we've got a hard reset with 8th.
Yeah.
And then not finished the hard reset. We've got people out there who've supported the hobby for years and years and years with armies like Tau, Necrons, Orcs. They haven't got a codex.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what do you want them to slow? I don't understand what you want them to slow down with.
I think after 8 hit, and they had all the indexes, and it was about a month. Yes, I think for about 6 months before they released any of the new codes.
So I agree with you there.
Big pause.
So I agree with you there. I think they should release 8th as a rule set, release your 5 indexes, and then leave it and let it settle.
Yeah.
Let the core rules work themselves out.
And in that pause bit, they could have done Necromunda, which they've done, Shadespire, which they've done, release some more terrain that they've done, all these other bits that they've done, while everyone's going, wow, 40k indexes.
I agree.
And then boom.
I'll give you that one then.
Yeah,
I stand corrected. Yeah, the indexes, I think they could have left it. But as soon as they started the codex release...
They should slow that down as well.
No. As soon as they started the codex release and dripping the codexes out, at that point I'm like, right, go for it, guys. Get it done. Because it's
too much.
It's not too much.
It is.
Why is it?
Because there's like 17,000 of them all of a sudden. It's lots of information overload.
Most people in the world have 1 to 2 armies.
What is the strength of Eldar, Shuriken, Catapult?
4.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. What is... Okay, carry on for a minute.
Right, okay. I don't know what...
Yeah, but the thing is, I used to know all the front armour values of something and the strength of a weapon and the AP of stuff. I used to know that because it didn't change for a long time. And... so you knew when... I never played this army. I didn't play Orcs, and someone rocks up with a thing and fires a rocket launcher at you, you know it's AP-2, whatever. You knew what it did.
Yep.
Now I don't.
Right.
There's too much of it.
So you want them to slow down
for me
because you're a slow learner.
Yeah, that's a reason.
Because it takes all 7 of your brain cells to read the codex and film and talk and breathe and stand up straight.
Yeah.
So, and I learn fast, so I don't care. I don't like this. People used to complain massively in 7th edition. They'd release a rule book and we won't see an FAQ for 6 months. Now we're getting codexes out fast, so people that are whinging that their codexes aren't out yet, Necrons, Orcs, etc., they're coming and they're coming soon. People that are whinging that rules aren't in a great position, they're getting FAQ within 2 weeks of release, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, that's a bit too quick as well, isn't it?
No. as long as, and they've seemed to have shown they're not doing it. As long as they don't release an FAQ within 2 weeks and then forget about that codex, which they're not doing. They're releasing an FAQ.
There's so much information it's hurting my tiny brain. That's all. They should just...
But that's not a Games Workshop problem, Winters. That's a you and your brain problem.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Anyway, I'm against them slowing down. I want them to carry on at the rate they're going. What I want to happen, having said that, when they've hit the last codex, when every codex is out for the 40k universe as it is, and all the people, and I do understand why people are getting annoyed that Adeptus Custodes are coming out as a new codex of a new race, and Orcs still haven't got their book. I get that. They could have swapped that round. They could have got all the ones out for people that currently own armies, and then dropped a new army. But I wonder if there's a reason. I wonder if the reason why the Custodians have come out early is because there's one army. I know, yeah, but this is what I'm saying. I'm wondering if they're staggering these new codexes because actually there's a couple of more lines in the back ready to go.
Yeah,
Sisters
like I
of Battle,
said, yeah, Ynnari,
all that kind of stuff.
Here's the prediction: Sisters of Battle never get a codex.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Why?
Because of the Fur Elise, that emblem that is on all their stuff which copyright laws, trademark laws, and that's why they've never had a plastic model range. Here's a prediction. What was the other group of warriors in the Talons of the Emperor box set?
Sisters of Silence.
Boom.
Which I prefer the models as well.
Sisters of Silence Codex. There's a prediction.
I'd be overjoyed.
And Sisters of Battle, they led, they've got their rules, blah blah blah.
I have
Sisters of Silence come out.
I have heard a rumour from a very, very, very reliable source that Sisters of Battle already have a plastic model range.
Yes. I've heard. I've got to be very careful what I say because of that.
I've just heard a rumour. I'm not affiliated with anyone in GW at all. So
I firmly believe that Sisters of Battle have had plastic models for some time,
that's what I've
and
heard.
had some stuff done for them for some time. Probably 7th, probably 6th for some time. But there's been legal stuff going on which GW have been trying to unshackle themselves from, so that they can own material which may or may not be copyrightable.
And ultimately, a lot of people ask,
and I think probably because of that, they sod it. We'll put this on.
A lot of people ask questions as to why a lot of the names have changed in Age of Sigmar, and some of the names have changed in 40k. It's copyright, isn't it? Ultimately, they're creating their own names for these races so that they can copyright it and people can't touch it. That's why it's happening.
They want to own their own IP.
And why wouldn't you want to protect your own IP?
I got no problem with it.
You know, that's their cash cow. It's for a hobby that we all love.
Yeah.
So right.
Yeah. I think this is probably the end of the first video, and I'm out of coffee.
Yeah, I'm going to ask one more question because it's a quick one, and that could be the last one to wrap it up.
Okay.
I need to use the toilet. We need more coffee, and I need to peel potatoes.
Okay.
So Mike is.
Hi, Mike.
He's the guy I was in the first battle report with. Absolute legend. He's also the guy that gave me the first camera and all sorts. So
he sounds like a nice guy.
He's an absolute hero. The question he's asked, which I really like, is a different question because it's quick, it's sharp, and it asks something that no one else has asked yet.
Okay.
He says, favourite model to build and paint, or favourite model to play with?
I'll tell you what my least favourite.
He says that he doesn't remember any actual crafting type questions yet on these series, which is quite true.
I'll tell you what my least favourite is, and it's really beginning to annoy me. I was only painting them yesterday or the day before, Space Marines. Because
old Space Marines?
Space Marines in general, doing that edge highlighting on armour is so annoying. Whereas when you paint cloaks and clothes and normal stuff, you can dry brush and wash in. And
he's just painted a load of
annoy me.
Primaris Marines.
Yeah,
he said they were really nice, really large, like edges to follow and edges to. Then he went back to normal Marines. And went, these are horrible compared to Primaris Marines.
I was just finishing off a couple of Intercessors Primaris Marines, and it was annoying me.
But come on, you must have a favourite.
Favourite model to paint. Favourite model to paint.
Favourite model to build and paint, yeah, or just paint. Or
the favourite model to build recently that immediately popped in my head was Mortarion. Putting that one together it just
lovely.
Slots together, and the way they've done it, so the mould lines disappear as you put it together. It's like, this is a work of art. This is genius.
Having built him, he's brilliant.
Yeah. So put together, he was very good. I enjoyed putting together the Imperial Knights and all the different ways you can pose them and do their things. Imperial Knights are very good, but model to put together and paint. Okay. Almost anything from Forge World is a joy to put together for two reasons. One, there's less components. So instead of putting 20 things together. Two, some of them are sometimes warped and got holes in.
So you feel like you're modelling.
So you feel like you're modelling.
Yeah.
So you're building this tank, or you're doing this thing, and it might only have 10 components instead of 30 components, but you do a bit of modelling, and I quite like that. And I see comments every now and then, people saying, I hate Forge World resin. I quite like it. And then to paint anything that's not power armor.
I'm one of those people with Forge World resin, and the reason why I'm one of those people isn't because I don't want to do the modelling side of it. I'm quite happy to model. What I begrudge is that you pay 2 to 3 times the price of a GW kit, and then you've got to finish the item. I've got no problems with Forge World resin. I've got no problems with doing the hobby side of it, with sculpting, with filling with green stuff, with rebending, all that kind of stuff. I've got no problems with working with resin, apart from the fact that you seem to be paying a premium for a product that seems less
they're all
finished.
hand cast. They're done. There's some dude doing that, pouring that, moulding it, and then breaking it out. It's all it's intensive labour sessions.
I think my most favourite one to build
has
been the most recent Bloodthirster kit. The reason being, not necessarily because it's the nicest model to build, although I love the model, but that was the first of the new big demon type things. That was before Magnus, before Mortarion, before the Lord of Change, etc., before the new Great Unclean one, obviously. And now, so I bought that box because I've always been a massive Khorne fan. I bought that box. I started to put that model together, and as the scale started to grow, you go, this is how it should have looked.
Yeah.
I had the old one that looked like some horrible, like tribal type face on it. Oh, god awful model
with a big stick.
Yeah. So the new one was just an app like this is how a Bloodthirster should look.
Yeah.
So that was my favourite one to build. So paint, I don't know if I have a favourite. I did like painting Imperial Knights because you just mainly because you achieve good results really quickly.
Yeah. Because
they're big panels, big crisp lines. You basically, I followed the Duncan guide. So you spray and dry brush and it starts to look really good really fast.
Right.
But I did thoroughly enjoy painting my Khan Betrayer model. Just because... Yeah, Khan is a Berserker.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's about... I think that covers that. That's how done. So, that's the end of video 1, or video 6 as it is now.
I prefer painting
we're not done.
terrain.
We're not done. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just because of easy results quickly?
Because I kind of... It's that creative side of things, making it and painting it and doing it, and it's quicker, it's easier, and it's bigger. I like anything bigger and easier to do. Anything fiddly and small.
Which is why I like the Imperial Knight. Although saying that, I have really started to... I started recently painting my Typhus model for Death Guard. That's a joy.
Yeah.
Because you can be a little bit more rough, you can play with technical paints, you can play with things like Typhus Corrosion, with Nurgle's Rot, etc.
Yeah.
And it just sort of, it all comes together. And what I did with that one, one of the things I loved, was I painted a load of about 7 or 8 base colours onto him, knowing I'd use the same colour wash for all of them.
Right.
And I washed the whole thing and just watched it all tie together.
Nice.
That was really quite satisfying. Yeah. Anyway, that is now the end of video 6.
Is it?
Yeah. Because we're going to make more coffee, finish making lunch, toilet break, all that kind of stuff. Probably chinwag anyway, even though we won't be filming.
It's going to be like this with the camera off.
Yeah, because that's what will happen until he goes home. Sometime in March, I think. So, thanks very much for watching. There will be more of these. If you haven't seen the first 5, go check them out. Check out the battle reports on the channel. Check out the other sit chats. Make sure, if you haven't, which I'm sure most of you have, you head on over to Winters' channel, which will be linked below, and check out all of his stuff, because your stuff is awesome. Your channel's still gaining subs. It's growing and growing and growing.
I don't know why.
And you're like one of the very first ever Warhammer supporters, so, you know, it's an honour.
No, that's because I got a message in my inbox from you saying, "Hi,
watch this.
My name is Liam. I'm starting to think, but you." And I said, "Yeah, okay." And then I watched.
What did you go into?
And the magic came out.
What did you go into Whingy Carlton voice then?
Bursting of the
yeah. Anyway, also in the description to the link below. Also in the links in the description below. I'll cover
but you
quickly.
did the right thing though. You were like, "Hey, I'm doing this. Can you give me?" You were asking for help, advice, and tips and things.
What I like is constructive criticism.
So I said, "Here you go." And I'm happy to. I'm happy to give out any. If people ask me questions, I'll answer them. I can't claim any kind of knowledge.
Yeah.
I just give
this is fun anyway. So,
yeah.
Also, in the description below, there are links to other things. Winters is also a member of the War Games Alliance. This is a group of YouTubers sponsored by War Games UK. Martin and the gang up in Southport. Yeah, look at that. So you will have already seen the intro anyway. He's another sponsored channel. So if you go into the link in the description below, we are sponsored by War Games UK. If you become a Warhammer patron at a silver level or above, you get an additional 5% discount on all War Games products, which are already at about 15% off. So it's a total of 20%. Yeah. They do free delivery over £50. So basically, if you're a $5 subscriber and you get your extra 5% discount, you're probably making your money back just with the discount alone. We've also got a link to... And
on there you can buy like merchandise like that.
Yes, of course. And there's links, or there will be soon links to YouTube channels and all sorts.
Yeah.
Then we've also got a link to GameMat.eu, another one of the Warhammer sponsors. There will soon be discount codes for patrons for GameMat.eu at 10% each.
Sweet.
For any purchases at GameMat.eu. We've got a link to redbubble.com for all Warhammer merchandise, which you can buy. Every sort of week or so there's a discount code on there for about 20% off redbubble.com. And that's about it.
That was a lot of stuff at the end there.
I'm trying to build a package for people to invest in. We're building a community here, not just a channel.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah,
Happy Wargaming.
Happy Wargaming. I was waiting for that one. Thanks for watching. Please stay tuned for more.
I already did it.
Yeah, all right. You can say it. You say goodbye.
Bye.